Welcome to JC Sports. I'm your host, Joe Chap. Today we bring you something that was coming along the lines of college athletics, and it has finally came to fruition. A federal judge has ruled that college athletes can be paid directly through the school. After nearly 5 years of litigation, a federal judge on the night of Friday, June 6th, granted final approval to the settlement of three athlete compensation antitrust cases against the NCAA and the Power Five conference that are set to fundamentally change college sports. Now, this is going to be the most interesting thing about this because I've talked to people before who have said that college sports is going to change regardless. I have talked to people who said that college sports is heading down a track towards a professional league. I have talked to people that are lawyers that are saying that have said that state by state, the NIL laws are not the same, and it's just interesting to hear about all that. But yesterday, which was June 6th, I was watching the game against the with the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. And I was like, let's see what this has to. But I waited for some articles to come out, and it says unless altered on appeal, the arraignment will allow, though not require, schools to directly pay their athletes for the use of their name, image, and likeness. Don't call it pay for play, which it is. It's just don't even worry about it. Subject to an annual cap based on percentage of defined set of Power Five athletic department revenues. These payments could begin July 1st. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Power Five. Power Five. What does that affect? Well, if you're an SEC school, if you're a Big Ten school, you're going to be set because your two conferences make the most. You have the SEC network for which is tied to ESPN. You have the Big Ten network, which is tied to Fox, and this is where the big business of college sports is really going to get into the whole fray of it. Now, going back to the article. Current and former athletes over a 10-year period will receive shares of 2.8 billion in damages as lawyers who represented them. And look, I'm not going to sit here. This is going to affect some guys like Denard Robinson and some of the guys that have been eh, you know in the news that have sued for name, image, and likeness. And then you go down for schools opting to pay their athletes. The NCAA's current system of a sport by sports athletic scholarship limits will be scrapped in favor of sport by sport roster limits. However, after U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilkin initially refused to approve the settlement because implementation of limits starting with the 2025-2026 school year would have resulted in thousands of athletes losing their spots on Division I teams, the deal was revised in a fashion that would effectively delay the implication of limits for several years. The elimination of scholarship limit will result in a new athletic scholarships being awarded. What is that going to be? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what that could mean? And if you're in a non-revenue sport, that could be huge because if you don't get the scholarships that you are afforded, you will not be able to compete. They'll give you 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever the case may be, and we've seen it in baseball and with some colleges. We've seen it with some swimming teams, all across this college sports that landscape. So what they said in that article, you just the elimination of the scholarship limit will result in new athletic scholarships being awarded. How will they be awarded? No one knows. And that's the crux of the matter here. Now we go on. In addition, while athletes will continue to be allowed to make name, image, and likeness deals with entities other than their school, there will be an effort by power conferences, not the NCAA, to bring greater scrutiny to those arrangements under the direction of a new entity called the College Sports Commission. Regardless of whether the school opts in to making NIL payments, any Division I athlete who has a deal or deals worth $600 or more will get ready for this. It will be called a new college sports jargon to a system called NIL Go. The data then will be evaluated to determine whether the deal has a valid business purpose and is within a reasonable range of composition, whatever those terms are deemed to mean. So look, what does that mean? Let's just put it in frankly. What does a reasonable range of compensation mean? No one knows. I don't think any of the lawyers know. I don't think the judge who's doing the thing knows. And that's what the crux of the matter is. And this whole thing about the College Sports Commission, if we go up to the where it was said that the power conferences, this will be an effort by the power conferences, not the NCAA. It basically shows you exactly what is going to happen going forward. The NCAA is going to be rendered useless. The NCAA is probably going bye bye. Based on this ruling right here, this is the end of the NCAA. And you could see college sports like college basketball and college football maybe spin off into their own type of thing and leave the other college sports behind. And that would be a change that is going to be wild. I mean, especially when you talk about college sports in general. I mean, especially with the way that some of these colleges have talked about you've heard Ryan Day or any SEC coach talk about they want 4 automatic bids and they want to expand the playoff to 16 in college football. It's crazy. It's really crazy to me. So we go on. Uh they say again, the commission will not be operated by the NCAA, but rather the conferences, and the commission will be charged with investigating alleged malfeasance, enforcing rules, and penalizing rule breakers. That means there's a lot left to be sorted out. You obviously consider MyRed other tangible or unrelated to the settlement, but you go on and you're like, okay, what does this mean? So this is one of the things that I'm gonna say. Okay, college sports has changed forever. In one Friday night, college sports has changed forever. Simply put. And if you're a fan of non-revenue sports like swimming, I love hockey. I love college hockey. If you like baseball, that's a non-revenue sport because it doesn't generate a lot of revenue, and depending on where you are, like if you're at Vanderbilt, I think it would generate revenue, but I could be wrong. But again, these non-revenue sports are going to be the most affected by this ruling. And if you're a college sport, if you love college sports, like if you're a college hockey fan, right, like me, um, I love watching college hockey. I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best college sports out there, next to football and basketball. And just watching college hockey is amazing. But they're a non-revenue sport. How is it going to affect them? And what is going to happen with college football? That's some of the things that I want to know. That's some of the things that I think we should be privy to know, because this whole thing came out on a Friday night at about 10 o'clock. Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, they were tied. They're going to overtime. So I really didn't read into much of it. I just was like, wow, this is something. I'll read some news articles that come out in the coming days. But this is huge for college sports, and it's going to change college sports forever. Again, if you're a non-revenue college sports fan, like you like swimming, you like gymnastics, you like this, you like college hockey, you like college baseball, you like softball, this is going to change it forever. College sports has realistically changed for the worse or for better in a Friday night on June 6th. And that's the way it goes. So let's read this part. This is the most important part. It says, this marks the formal beginning of the greatest transformation in college sports history, period. Gabe Feldman, director of Tulane Sports Law and Program and Tulane University Associate Provost for NCAA Compliance, told the USA Today Sports before the settlement was announced. But I think the key, even after approval of the settlement, is that this changes in college sports are just starting. The settlement will likely trigger series of issues, including additional changes, legal challenges, and efforts to get congressional intervention. This is not the end of the chapter. Uh, this is not the end of the chapter, or it's the end of a new chapter, and the new chapter begins sooner. I think there will be many unanswered questions, and probably more unanswered questions than answered questions. That'll come from the settlement. And then this was a key here. Can a settlement, how settlement be appealed? Wilkins' final approval can be taken to the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. It's not certain whether it will be appealed, but objecting parties have 30 days to decide. The contention is surrounding the roster limits could result in one or more objectors who are focused on the issue not only appealing, but also seeking a stay that would delay implementation of the entire settlement. Such objectors would need to stay because, as the settlement was approved by Wilkin, if there's an appeal, all the forward-looking actions, including schools that pay athletes, uh, are set to be allowed to plead, even pending the approval of appeal. So it just goes in there. Will there be a pay cap for schools paying NIL? A final determination of what per school cap will be for the 2025-26 cycle has not been made. The NCAA in a document summarizing the rules change approved on April 21st said the cap is estimated to be 20.5 million. However, it is written in a declaration filed with the court on March 3rd in support of final approval. Plaintiff's economics expert Dan Rasher projected that the cap would be 23.1 million. So again, it's going 23.1, 25. So if the initial cap is 20.5 million and the school awards 2.8 million in new scholarships, it can only make 18 million in NIL payments to athletes. This math has no impact on the NIL deals that athletes make non-school entities, as long as the deals are approved under the commission process. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And how could Title IX could obviously affect it. That's one of the things that a lot of people are saying that it could challenge it. But all we got to know is that this has changed. College sports has changed in a jiff. It truly has changed in a jiff. And if you're a fan of college sports, this is just something that we expected to happen, but we didn't think it would happen this early. And if you're a team like in Michigan, I know when I talked to that lawyer I was talking to, that does college athletes and he does the compensation on NIL. He's very vast in NIL. He said, in Michigan, there's laws that prohibit you from doing this and this and this, and it was crazy. But there's laws in Ohio and Tennessee and Alabama and Texas that are different from Michigan, and it's an uneven playing field in terms of NIL. So this deal is going to prohibit those laws. It's going to intervene those laws, and it's going to make it a little more organized. But make no bones about it. College sports has changed for forever based on this ruling. College sports will never be the same. I could see where the college football, especially the Big Ten and the SEC, could be making changes where they go from they perhaps make a super conference and get all that money and all that jazz, and it's this is going to be wild in the years to come. If you're a college football fan, if you're a non-revenues fan, this is something that you're going to have to really, really hone in on, because there's going to be a lot of changes to the way college sports has been to what it's going to be. And the unfortunate part about this is whether you like college football, whether you like college softball, the sports have changed. And NIL has changed it. And the way things have happened has changed it. And the players should make what the players make, right? Like, no one is saying the players should not make money based on how much revenue they bring to school. And this is something that I thought the old way of NIL wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. The old way of NIL, where it was a free for all, it was open season, it didn't matter. It wasn't going to work. In the grand scheme, it was going to be totally dumb. And we've seen it come to fruition this year with Nico Amialeva going to UCLA for a paycheck. I mean, he says he was closer to home, but he wanted to get paid by Tennessee, and Tennessee didn't pay him. So he goes, okay, I'll go to UCLA since they're going to pay me. We're going to have the haves and have nots in sports. And it's a crazy way of college sports really evolving. It's going to be huge. But this ruling is going to come out. There's going to be more pieces that come out in coming days that are going to be shed more light on what the ruling actually means. But for now, I think any of us can say what it actually means is this is going to change college sports forever. It's going to change college sports forever. And I think this is what needed to be done to make it more organized. But it's gonna be something, man. This is gonna be really something. I think this is probably one of the most landmark deals that has ever happened in college sports. I think it's gonna be very interesting what comes ahead. Obviously, we talked about it on several YouTube videos I've done, but um, this is huge, and this is gonna be something where if you're a fan of the sport, be ready for it to change in a big way. If you're a fan of non-revenue sports, it could change in a big way. And we're gonna see exactly what this means in the next couple of years. It's impossible to talk about this and say what is going to happen with this ruling on a day where it just got approved. It's impossible to do that. So we'll see what happens with this, but this is going to be the start of a new age in college sports. College athletics has changed for the better or for the worse. And it's going to be interesting to see what lies ahead here in college sports. But this is Jason Sports. I'm going to be doing a lot of podcasts, nationals, local. I'm here in Michigan. We do a lot of Michigan stuff in Michigan State and Detroit Lions, the Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers. But we'll do a lot of national stuff. So if you want to stay subscribed, please do. We'll have more on the college sports. We're going to do more college football this year. So that will be fun. But we'll see you guys in the next videos to talk more college football here on JC Sports.